Cold steel and Dimcos and fixed blades and flippers. These are a few of my favorite things. Okay, it's time for the question and answers. Y'all asked a whole bunch of good questions, and so I picked out a few of them. Now, there was a bunch of questions that kind of required a setup, like grabbing a bunch of knives and showing you guys knives. I'm going to do that probably tomorrow or Tuesday, and so I can get all the knives together. Somebody asked, what are your 10 favorite knives outside of Dimco land? So that's going to be different. So the giveaway won't be probably until Wednesday with all the questions that were asked. I really appreciate y'all getting in there and asking some cool questions. And so I'm just going to start going through the list. I have 7 pages of questions. I'm going to see how far I can get into this before you all go to sleep and take a nap on me. All right, NorCal Nate, he asked, what got you into collecting knives? Also, what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? I've always liked knives ever since I was a little kid, as long back as I can remember. I remember my dad had this one hunting knife that I used to covet, and he said when I get 15 I could have it. And he never gave it to me. So I hit him up for it a few months ago, and he said he still had it, strangely enough, even after the fire and the flood and everything else. So he just got located in the warehouse, and he's going to give it to me. But it's just, you know, I was an outdoorsy kid, you know, going down to the creek, catching snakes, catching fish, and whatnot. I think I caught lice once, but that wasn't at the creek. That was different. It was a kid that sat in front of me. But anyways, and what inspired me to start a YouTube channel? I'll tell you what, the main inspiration for me, and this is not kissing up or anything, was Birdshot. I watched all the bigger knife channels, you know, the ones I'm talking about, the really cool dude. But they were the first ones that kind of made it fun. They weren't super serious about it, and it just sounded like something I would like to do and enjoy. I enjoyed knives, and I was really starting to get back into them. And really get into them seriously for the first time ever, as far as knowing about them a lot. And watching their channel, it just made it more fun, and I wanted to do that and conversate with some good folks. And that's what kind of happened there. All right, we're going to have to hurry up. How many knives? Jay Tanker asked, how many knives does Jimmy Slash own? Well, Jimmy Slash, that's me, third person weirdo. I just counted through them, right around 280 knives. So, give or take a few here or there that maybe lost in some drawers somewhere, but right around 280. And with all the PIF stuff here, if you count the PIF, I'm probably sitting on about 450 knives right now. So, it's a good collection. Lots of stuff to give away and PIF away. Eric Holiday, the good doc himself, what's your favorite ramen flavor? Well, obviously, shrimp. I love shrimp flavored ramen. And if you get the bonus with the cup of noodles, and you get those little sea monkey shrimps in there, that's even better. Greg Brandt asked, how did you come up with the name Jimmy Slash? Well, it was easy. Early on in the internet, I was looking for a pseudonym. I was studying guitar back then, learning how to play. Took 2 of my favorite guitar players and smushed their names together, and that's how I came up with it, Jimmy Slash. And that's my old frog videos and stuff were under Jimmy Slash. What was my first? Adam Smith asked, what was your first ever blade? That was that Buck 112 that I showed you last month that I just got reunited with through the Harvey that came through here, and going through all the boxes and stuff and trying to save some of the mom and dad's stuff. I managed to find that Buck 112, which is cool because now it survived the fire and the flood and different things. Okay, J.R. Rodriguez asks, who inspires you to do Pay It Forward, and if you could, how would you grow it to get more people in the community involved? Well, the first inspiration was the Doc Holliday. I know I've told the story before, I'll make it short. We did some kind of exchange or deal. I think I bought a knife from him, and he sent the knife, but in the package was just a little bit of extra stuff, like a little candy. There was a little credit card jobber, a little credit card tool, and I forget exactly what was in there, but there was just some extra stuff that I wasn't expecting, and I was having kind of a garbage day that day, and just seeing that really kind of lit up my day, and I just told my wife, if this can make me feel like this, maybe it can make somebody else feel the same way. So he really inspired the beginning of the PIF program. And how could you grow it to get more people? There's a part of me that wants to beg and steal and plead with different people to give me a shout out, and then there's part of me that wants to grow it the right way and get the right kind of people. I don't want to advertise on Craigslist, hey, free stuff on this channel. And then you get a bunch of people that all they want is free stuff and they don't really want to be involved. And right now we're growing at a nice rate and we got a lot of good people. And we got so many generous people giving to the PIF and giving to the community and giving to people. And I don't want the wrong people getting involved. I want everybody here to be a family. I just don't want to go trolling for trolling's sake to grab more subs. I would love more subs. I would love to get 3 boxes out. Wouldn't that be cool to get 1,000 boxes out next year? We're going to end up doing right at 460 this year. I'm thinking 460, 470, and that's awesome. But if we could do more, that would be awesome. But you have to get the right people in, or you're just getting people that aren't here for the right reasons. So I guess if I had to, I would try and find some good knife channels and try to get them involved. But so far, that hasn't happened. But you know what? It might. I might come knocking on some doors. You don't know. Then J.R. Rodriguez asks, what brand of mustard is the best for mustard sandwiches? And that's a reference to the fact that sometimes when you buy too many knives, you have to eat ramen and mustard sandwiches. And the best mustard for that is Whataburger mustard. Yes, sir. Smoking Irishman, he asks, what do you do for a living? Also, how long have you been growing your beard? Right now, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I do other things. I have other things I do, but the main thing I do is stay at home with my sons. And I homeschool them, and I teach them the ways of cicada kung fu. And I get a real good opportunity to raise my boys that way. And they're not having to spend any time outside with wrong influences. So that's what I'm doing, stay at home dad right now. I have some other things too. Maybe I'm a superhero, you just don't know. So there we go. How long I've been growing my beard? I've had a beard on and off for the last 25 years. I guess not 25 years. Let me see. What's 7 minus 3? Add the 0 squared. Okay, like 23 years. There was a couple years that because of my job I couldn't have a beard, but that was the only years. And as soon as I got out of that, I grew my beard back. Growing it long, I've been growing it long probably for the last 4 years, but I trim it up because there's a certain point my beard starts looking pretty homeless. And I don't want to look terrible. I could have that long ZZ Top beard, but it wouldn't look like ZZ Top. It looked like more like some crazy old dude just, got off a bender. And I don't want that. Okay, Luis Arellano. Yeah, I'm working on it. Have you ever solo camped overnight? I did once, and it was a horrible nightmare. And it wasn't because I was afraid or I was bored out of my mind. I don't know if I have ADD or what, but I just didn't have anything to do. It was out on the beach. Mosquitoes are biting me and ants are biting me. It wasn't the greatest prepared. I just kind of went out there and hung out. And I didn't have a lot to do, so I was bored. I would love to go back and do some camping and get out there. As it is right now, my family's not super outdoorsy, and that kind of prevents me from getting out there as far as getting out and just staying out overnight. But definitely something I'd like to do. All right, Kevin Herman asks, what kind of sharpening system do you use? Well, right now I'm just using DMT stones and a couple of diamond pasted strops. I can get a really good edge on a blade. I can get it to where it will whittle hair, but I can't really get it really pretty like the KMEs can. So I can make a useful blade. I just can't make a pretty good looking one. Eric Holiday, another one from the doc. If you were given $5,000 and not allowed to save any or give any away, what would I buy? Well, my computer is about 9 years old now, so I think I would put together a new computer, build a new computer, and maybe get a better camera system for the channel so it would look better. I tried a camera out last week and it seemed like it had a better better view of everything. And this just seems kind of tight, and I would like to get some better lighting. So a camera and some lighting. Right now it takes me about, this is no lie, probably about an hour and a half just to get my videos from the phone camera to the computer to YouTube. So to speed that up would be awesome. Okay, Bubba Peppers has 2 questions. The Jimislash movement is grounded in the PIF concept along with world famous reviews. Other than being the most generous, supportive, and welcoming group in the knife world, are there plans for the YouTube and Facebook group to further distinguish ourselves in the knife community to the point of being unignorable? Well, it's just like I was saying to the JR question. I think the slow dissemination of our information is going to be better than if we just come out and start plastering it on billboards. The word of mouth thing is going to get the right kind of people, and if there's a good guy out there and he gets a PIF box and he tells his friend, well, chances are that guy's a good guy. I don't want to blow it up and here we go, and dwarf this whole thing up. You get the wrong kind of guys in there, and we all get dwarfed. And then he asked, would you be open to a Jimislash jamboree where as many as possible can get together for a meet and greet, knife swap sale, and good old barbecue? I would love that. I would love that. We need to do that in the coming year and see if we can get some schedules together and coordinate that. That would be awesome. I know I'm going to Blade Show in 2018. I don't know if that's an idea. We could all get together and do something there. Tiago Andrade asks, do you like reading? If so, what are your favorite books? A lot of my favorite books have to deal with criminology and criminal justice, but I don't want to really get into that. One of the best books I ever read was the biography of Eddie Rickenbacker. And if you don't know who he was a World War I fighter ace, one of the first fighter aces. And if you read his book and you read his biography, you would see that his life was like Forrest Gump, but it was really amazing the stuff he went through. It was just amazing. You have to read his book to believe it. You just can't believe the things that he did. Just awesome, awesome man. And that was probably if I had to go to another book outside of the Bible, that's one of my favorite books. Steve Williams asks, you a football guy? Well, if you're asking if I ever played football, I played a little bit in high school, a couple games. That was it. And I found out I didn't like the way it made me feel in my head. So I didn't play very much. I like watching it. And not so much lately with professional football. I've been kind of getting away from it. But I like watching college football. I've been a football kind of guy all my life. I've just been kind of burned out on it lately. J.R. Rodriguez, another good question. If you could have Andrew Dimko build anything you want, what would it be and what would you name it? I would like him to build me a custom version of the Cold Steel Spartan. That would be so cool. And it could be the Dimko Slasher, and it would have like this logo on the side of it or something. I would wake up from a dream and that would happen. That would be awesome. That would be my ultimate knife dream, I think. If something like that ever happened. That would be so cool. Okay, let me see who asked. Sorry about that. Rodriguez asked another one. JR asked me, how does your family feel about PIF? And have you ever thought about letting them try to help with the review? I have, and they're not super, they kind of not allow me, but don't bother me when I do my reviews and my knife stuff. They're not super into knives. My oldest son, he kind of likes knives, but he's more into his own thing. And then my other son is more into computers. And my wife is awesome and super cool about my reviews and knife collection. But she's not really into knives herself. So when the apocalypse comes, I'm going to be having to strap it on and just wear it for everybody and take them all out. Okay, here we are. Keep going here. I think we're on page 2 now. Dougram Silverforge asks, what's for dinner? Well, tonight we're going to have pork chops. So that's what's for dinner tonight. Pork chops with a nice vinaigrette sauce that I make with this reduction and cherry balsamic thing. It's pretty good. Or I hear from the other room we might be having salmon with scallops. Either way, I'm eating good tonight. And then he asks, how does it feel to be such an awesome person? You inspire others to awesomeness. I don't think that's true at all. I just think I've been inspired to awesomeness by awesome persons. And if what I do is perceived as awesome is because I'm living in the shadows of these humongous giants of donations and generosity. You know, they're just really cool people. This thing doesn't work if it's not for everybody getting involved. I started Piff, and it was like, oh, here's a box here, a couple boxes here, and then it blew up, and we got to a box a day. And that's because y'all. That's, you know, we're going to end up spending, what, $3,000-$4,000 in shipping this year, close to $10,000 in gear and stuff sent out, worth the, you know, the value of all that stuff. And that's not me. I couldn't afford that. But y'all made all this happen. So that's not me being awesome. That's everybody collective awesomeness. That's what we'll call it. Collective awesomeness. Okay. Marshmallow123. What ideas would you like to see more of from the knife making world in 2018? Also, what would you like to see less of? I think I'm going to go with the less of first. I'd like to see less snobbery. Less snobbery and bickering in the knife community. Well, you know, this is a great knife. Andrew Demko custom. But what does it matter? This is my jam here, and somebody else is going to go into the woods with this one here. Are they going to be any less effective? Most likely not. This is just what I choose to do with my extra money or extra hobby stuff. And this doesn't make me better, doesn't make me better looking, healthier, doesn't make me anything. It just means I have a Demko knife. That's it. I didn't even make that knife. I have zero reason to be proud of that knife besides the fact that, you know, maybe I earned the money to get it. Besides that, though, I didn't do anything to create this knife. I didn't design it. So I like to see less snobbery, especially among the knife owners, and less bickering about different things. That doesn't make sense. What would I like to see more from the knife making world? I don't know. I'd like to see some more knives with maybe some older high-end steel coming into the budget area. Kind of like 440C used to be the super steel back in the 90s. Maybe something like that. Maybe bring in some 154 CM down to the $30 range or something like that. I don't know if they can do that, but that's what I would like to see. J.R. Rodriguez. Man, he's all over the place today. Name the one person you strive to be like and why. Well, that's pretty easy for me. I'd like to be like my dad. And here's the reason why, and it's very simple. Because even though we were poor growing up, and we didn't have a lot, and there were days that we did without, and lots of things we went without, it was never a doubt in my mind that his family was his number one priority. He wasn't going to come home with a steak, and we weren't going to eat bologna. That wasn't it. He was going to come home with a steak and let us eat it, and then he would eat a bologna sandwich or something like that. That was who I want to be like. And that just told me that others were more important than himself. And if I can do that in my lifetime, that's my goal. All right, Jeremy Crow asks, have you ever been to Blade Show, or do you ever plan on going? Oh, yeah, next year. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a Jimislash appearance at Blade Show, and I'll probably be the one stalking Andrew Demko if he decides to go. So we will definitely be there. Bruce McConnell. He asks, has your wife ever said no to your knife purchases, and how many times? She's never, ever, not even once, told me no. She's the most awesome person you can possibly believe. And the thing is, actually, she gets her feelings hurt kind of when I do my knife sales. She doesn't understand that's part of the game. And she thinks I'm giving away all my goodies but she doesn't understand the hobby is, you know, sell some, get some. So she's awesome. She's not super into knives, but she knows who Demko is by sight. So she's going to help me stock next year. Tojo asks, how do you store your knives and how do you prevent rust in storage? I just keep them in drawers and safes. And if it's something that might rust or something that's prone to rust, like M4 or D2 or something like that, I just put a little lube on, a little frog lube, just oil it up a little bit. I have some 1095 blades, and they just got a light coat of oil on them. It's a little bit humid here in Houston, so you got to worry about it a little bit. It's not like it's on the coast, though. So that's how that goes. All right. Jared Tyra asked 2 questions, but I'm only going to answer the first one because the second one is one of those setup questions. So he asked, what is your favorite comfort food? Super easy. Nachos. That's not even a problem to ask for that one. Okay, JCB67 asks, I'm just reading these as I go. I haven't really prepped for these. Other than what the knife will be used for, when you choose a knife you like, do you consider it more the steel of the blade or more about aesthetics, blade shape, etc., and feel in hand, or maybe a combination of all? Is there any one thing that's a deal breaker? Have a great week. Thank you, sir. You have a great week as well. I think it's how it feels in my hand, number one. Because of the size of my hand, if it's uncomfortable, I don't care if it's, 20 CV steel or whatever, M390. If it's not comfortable, it's not gonna go well. And that's the deal breaker for me on all knives, is comfort. Now, it might be a smaller knife. It could be a shorter knife. I'm looking over here trying to find a shorter knife, and I don't have one readily available. But for me, it's about comfort. And then if it's got a decent steel like this is my favorite user right now. I know I've said that before. This is the Steel Wheel Gecko, and it's comfort and usability, and the steel is not super steel. N690 is not horrible, but I like it because of the way it feels and the way I can sharpen it. All right, we're moving along here. Flint and Steel Survival asks, who's my favorite knife? Come on, my favorite knife designer? You know what? Lord Demko knows. He knows. And what is my dream vacation? I think I would like to go to a really pretty lake somewhere in the snow. There's a lake up in Banff, Canada. I would love to go and hang out there just to see the view, hang out in the cold, maybe do a little hiking. That's my dream vacation, to go somewhere pretty like that. I've been to Lake Tahoe a couple times, and it's just beautiful. But I'd like to get to a place where it's a little more or a little less commercialized. All right, Thomas. He asked. Well, Thomas. He asked, what's the worst knife-related injury you ever had, and what lessons did it teach you? Okay, I was about 16 years old, 15, 16, and I had this old chef's knife, and it was about yay long, and then it was one of those wood handle ones with the brads coming out. Well, the wood handle had chewed off to right about here, so all this was open, and I was just working with my dad out in the yard one day, just bored and stupid. So I started stabbing this in the wood and, making holes and being stupid. And I decided, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run this thing as hard as I can with all my 16-year-old super strength into a side of that shed over there and see how far I could stick it through. And like you'd imagine, I didn't get very far. Thankfully, this guard went down enough to stop me from sliding up on the blade. But I shredded my hand up on those brads. Just tore a deep gouge into my hand. I don't have any scars left. But I was bleeding nicely, and my dad was less than sympathetic. All right, so that's my worst knife injury, and I think I got away pretty good because I've seen some pretty horrible ones on Facebook. Roy Fernbach asks, what would you think is the best budget-friendly cold steel triad lock knife and CTS XHP for EDC? I think that's pretty easy. I would go with the Code 4. That's going to be your cheapest bet. Awesome EDC knife. If you don't like the smoothness of the handles, just get a little grip tape, but that's a beautiful knife. A great deal. And you can get them for about $50. That's pretty good. Wade Page asks, how many cold steel knives do you have? I counted, and I have right around 70. So between 70 and 80. I used to have more, but I've been selling a lot lately. J.R. Rodriguez, he keeps popping up. Does your family approve of your knife addiction? They're enablers, so they neither approve nor disapprove. And they keep getting me stuff. So I guess they approve a little bit, right? If they keep buying you stuff. Feather Chucker, he asks, what is the best steel in your opinion for an EDC blade? For EDC, I think it just comes down to something you can sharpen, something that's going to not wear out terribly. N690 is hard to beat. And I'm just going to go with budget EDC. All these things can be EDC. This is S35VN on this Hinderer here. And that's not bad. I think it just comes down to what you can afford, what you want to afford, and is it going to last for a little bit and just take a little sharpen here and there. N690 is not bad. 154 CM is a good steel. VG10, that's a nice steel for that kind of $50 budget range. D2 is a great steel, and you can get a bunch of cool knives in D2, but it doesn't have that corrosion resistance that you're probably looking for in a regular EDC. You don't want something you're always having to care for. So it's something you can put in the old coin container there on your way to the bed. All right, let's see. Drew Drawers asked, do you ever find your love of knives getting in the way of personal matters such as finances or simply not having any family or friends that you haven't met on YouTube to share your passion with? I know some people struggle with saving money when they want to spend on their interests and would like to hear your thoughts on the matter. Well, here's the simple lowdown. I usually don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem, keeping the lights on or anything like that. I'm pretty good with money. I drive an old truck, not super old. I don't have a car payment there. My wife's car is a little bit older. We're getting there. So, 14, 15 years old on the car, and they still work. So we're not really a high-end kind of family. I haven't had really issue with it getting in the way of family or friends. I don't have a lot of people that are obsessed with knives like I am. I know a couple guys that are. One guy kind of got me back into knives a little bit, but it really hasn't gotten in the way of anything. It's not like I huddle in the corner with my knives like I'm a crack addict and don't share. The one thing is, I will say though, is that for the last couple of years, everybody's been getting knives for Christmas and birthdays, and I know what they need more than what they know what they need. So it works out. They don't know they need knives. Okay, let's keep going here. Ashton Groves asked me, what's your opinion on low end versus high end steels? Is it such a huge deal with a knife? Doesn't a high end steel like when people don't want a knife just because it doesn't have the newest super steel? Yeah. If you like super steels and if you're looking for something and it's in your mind, I have to have something in M390 or I have to have something in whatever, the newest steel, and you can get it, that's fine. But if you get something like this and you get in your hand and this is made in a certain way and it's made by your favorite designer, and then you find out it's CTS XHP. Oh, what? It's not, it's not S90V or what in the world? No, I can't. No, I was wanting something 3V or something. If that's getting in your way, and if you're so demanding on your knife that XHP won't do it, or then you're one specific person, and that's fine. But for most people, and for myself, if it's comfortable and it's a good steel, and I really learned my lesson with that CRKT Foresight and the way it held up on that AUS 8, and just kind of reopened my eyes a little bit to some different things. So no, I won't buy a $1,000 knife with AUS 8, but if it's $100 and it's comfortable and it's a good AUS 8, I don't see a problem with that. All right. Okay, I think that was the last question. Oh wait, no. Yeah, last question. That was the last one I'm going to answer, which is good for you because this video is like 30 minutes long. Holy cow. If you're still here, thank you. All right, so like here, subscribe here, share the video with your friends. Let's get the word out on the channel and on PIF and different things. And I really appreciate y'all asking questions. That's pretty cool. I was afraid I was going to say, hey, we're going to do a Q&A, and all I was going to hear is crickets and frogs. But I didn't, and it worked out well. And I got the second half to the video with some more show and tell kind of questions. And that'll be coming up this week sometime. So, leave a comment down there. Let me know what you think. And if you got any more questions, let me know, and maybe I'll get a chance to answer them later. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later.